to Spirit of Life. I'm Dave Gerber, your host, and today I have with me Grace Discern and Brooke Alverson. They're from Independence Village, and we're going to be talking about the services they offer and hopefully be helpful to all of us as we may face the time when we need to have our folks or even ourselves move into a place other than the home that we're used to. So, Grace, what is Independence Village?
Well, Independence Village is Oxford's only premier retirement community. And it's a very nice community for residents that want to be amongst their peers and enjoy each other's company as well as activities, great food, plenty of activities for the residents. And we also offer them transportation as well. So what's nice about it is we do have independent living, and our folks can age in place. They can go ahead and transform into our assisted living if they need that. We have nurses on hand. We have a doctor that comes into our community. It is just an outstanding place to be, really nice.
So you were talking about age in place. What does that mean?
Well, what it means is if you start off an independent, as you transition into an older state or something goes wrong as far as medically, if you fall, anything that may require you to have rehab or anything that requires you to have assisted living, you're able to go ahead and get those services in our assisted living.
Okay.
So we have that help available.
So now, would this be more like, I've been in there a few times and I visited some friends who have folks in there. It's like this really cool, part of it looks like an apartment. I mean, they have their apartments.
Right.
And part of it's like a really cool hotel. And then a part of it reminds me of just, man, I'd like to live here. You know, your living space is like the Eagle's Nest and everything like that, like the library. You're the marketing director.
Assistant.
She
Not
just
director
yet. She just got a promotion. Not yet. Well, today. So you're the marketing assistant. What are the things that what information do you try to get out to people?
I basically just let them know about our community, which Grace has already told us a little bit about, and as well as I'll give them information about what goes on as far as the activities. I mean, there's a lot of stuff for our seniors to do. We keep them very busy.
Okay, well, what are some of the things that they can do?
We have lots of card games, euchre, bridge, bingo is a big hit. We also have a lot of our trips. They go down to Greektown, they go to Frankenmuth a couple times a year. They also take trips to the malls, shopping centers, anywhere they want to go. If they have a suggestion, Laura Ashley, our activities director, is very good at getting it scheduled in and getting the shuttle there, and they have a great time. So
let's not forget to mention our happy hour as well.
Oh yes,
we have a happy hour there too.
Yeah. So there's
with our birthday bash. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So it's like this full service community then. Way different than if I were in my house having to figure out what activities to do. This is like just maybe for lack of a better word, this is a menu of items that I can choose from. I'm not required to participate in anything, or I can participate in as much as I want.
Yes.
And a lot of folks kind of look at it as being on a cruise ship.
Okay.
Because we have everything there is. It's all inclusive. The price does include your electric. It includes your cable TV. It includes your meals, laundry, housekeeping. To me, it's like being at a 5-star hotel. I mean, it's just, you don't have to worry about anything. It's worry-free living. And it gives the family peace of mind, too, because our staff that we have there, everybody does go through a PAR evaluation to make sure that person is the right person for that position, as well as a background check. So we only hire the best of the best in our community, and it really shows.
Okay, so this is not only, well, everything is focused on making sure that your residents have the best and most life-giving experience possible.
Yes.
Okay. So you were talking about some of the trips and you talking about some of the activities, but what's like a typical day for somebody?
A typical day, they wake up, go down to the cafe, get some breakfast.
Now, do they have to eat at the cafe?
No, they can eat in their room if they would like.
But it is an apartment. Each resident has their own full-size apartment, so they have a full-size kitchen. They have all the amenities they need in their apartment. However, we offer them the continental breakfast if they want to come down for breakfast.
Yep.
Our folks in the assisted side, they do include it in their package is 3 hot meals daily. So they do get a hot breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Our independent folks, they're able to come for continental breakfast if they choose. We have a nice lunch available as well. Dinner is included in that independent package. They have a choice of 2 nice entrees, always desserts, salads, fresh vegetables. Our executive chef does a real well
So
job
everything,
with that.
so the Independence Village, the independent living is truly independent living.
Yeah.
I'm not signing up for an apartment and have to participate in these things or do these things to get these meals. If I want to stay in my apartment and not do anything,
That's right.
That's what's nice
Yep.
about it,
Okay.
Dave. You have your own car if you choose. You come and go as you please. No, but it's not senior jail or anything like that. We're not trying. Once you come in, you believe me, you have the options. But it's just such a nice place to call home. And I think if you come and visit us and see for yourself, and we do go ahead and recommend that you do that, you can see what there is and why all the folks love it over at
well, I would
Waterstone.
imagine, because we had talked about, and we'll probably talk about here in a little bit, one of the big challenges that I've seen as a pastor when I go and talk to people who have transitioned from, their home, and for whatever reason, home got to be just hard to live in. The lawn got hard to keep up,
Yeah.
the house got hard to keep up. That there was this loss of independence or a feeling like they'd lost their independence. And I think knowing that this is just a place that allows you to not have to worry about all of the little details,
Right.
that you can now start living without having to always play catch up on the house or worry about your health or whatever.
Right.
So when people come in, they get a tour of the facility.
Yes.
And we've talked about, and it's going to seem like we're going over a bunch of things time and time again, but somebody comes in, and what are some of the questions that they ask, like the residents or the kids? What are some of the questions that they would have that are pretty typical?
Basic. One of theirs is always, how much is it going to cost me? They think that it's going to be an arm and a leg to get in. And like Grace said, it's an all-inclusive package, which makes it really nice.
So if you consider not having your taxes, not having to pay somebody to come cut your lawn, not having to pay your cable or your gas or your groceries or your transportation or your car insurance, it's an all-inclusive price. So it in the long run, it's more affordable than what most people think that it is.
Right.
Because there's this sense, I think there's this sense, and that it is going to be, like you said, an arm and a leg. And when we had talked yesterday, briefly, you had said that there's different pricing. So, there's not this base price and this whatever, but that's one of the concerns that they have is the pricing.
Yes.
And that's certainly something I'd like to talk about in our next segment. And I'd like to talk about some of the other questions, because if I'm making that decision, what are the things that I might want to ask, even if I'm watching this on the internet and I'm in Ohio and there's an Independence Village or there's a, some kind of
Right.
thing there. What are some things that I should ask? What are the things that I should look for?
Right. Well, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Grace.
So I'll tell you what, we'll do that in the
Okay.
next one, and we'll
Okay.
answer those questions. You're watching Spirit of Life.
The American Legion. We're a powerful force for the nation. We're the largest veteran service organization in the nation, with 2.5 million members. And when you add to that the American Legion Auxiliary and the Sons of the American Legion, we have a family of 4 million members, working hard every day for our veterans, our youth, and our communities. Go to legion.org to find out more about the American Legion's commitment of service to America.
Hi, welcome back to Spirit of Life. I'm Dave Gerber, and again with me is Brooke Alverson and Grace DeZern. Grace is the Executive Director of Independence Village in Oxford, and Brooke is the Assistant Marketing Director. Last segment I gave you a promotion. Congratulations.
Thank you.
If it's on television, it's got to be true. So I would make sure that you let them know that you got that promotion. I forgot to mention your number. because I'm sure, I heard a number, one of the segments we did here was about hospice, and that in 2020, 65% of the population was going to be 65 or over, and older, or over. Well, and so this is going to be something, I want to talk to you, because this is going to be something that kids are going to be dealing with more often as the population ages. And we had talked at the end of the last segment, what are some of the typical questions? And pricing is this thing because it's either a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom, and people want to know what's the bottom line. And I don't think it's fair, really, to any independent living firm to just talk pricing, because there's so much more that goes into that. So if I were coming in for my parents, I might want to know about some safety concerns. And because at home, my parents may be having trouble getting around. My dad needs to move something, and he tries to move it because he's always been able to move it, and he hurts himself. This is independent living.
Right.
You know, are they going to be safe, or am I just trading one set of worries for another? So could we address safety for a minute?
Well, to start off, we are staffed 24 hours a day. So there's always somebody in our building. They're never going to be alone. We also provide in every bathroom and every bedroom in all of the apartments the emergency pull cords. So if something were to happen, they can't just call down to the front desk. They're going to be pulling that cord, and somebody will be coming up to make sure they're okay.
Now, just to jump on that just for a
Right.
second, do they also have one, and I don't know why I just thought of this, but you know, beyond the pull cords, do they also have like a pendant or
Some of them do.
something?
Yep, some
if
of
they
them do.
want one, they can get something
Yes.
like that?
Yes.
And one thing I want to mention, we do have a morning check on every single one of our residents. So every morning we do call the resident, we make sure they're okay. This way we know if they didn't answer, we do send somebody to go and check on that individual. Just in case somebody fell throughout the night, they weren't able to pull their pull cord, they didn't have an
Lifeline.
emergency button, we do that check daily.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I didn't
so-
realize that, because
Yeah.
I think that's nerve-wracking sometimes. Now, let's, one of the things that I was just thinking about, I have a friend whose parent is over there, and let's say that the stress is getting, you know, that mom or dad is just anxious all the time. You know, do you have resources for them to help the kids, you know, deal with some of the stress of having a parent that is getting older, getting more anxious? Are there resources that are available like that?
We do have those resources available. We have our senior home care solutions that's in our building. We have nurses on staff. We have individuals that are able to talk with those families to ease their concerns or anxiety with their parents as well. We have physical therapy that's available. So anything that's needed by the family or the resident, we do have all those services that are available to them.
That's more than I had thought. I mean, I would tell some people as a pastor, I'd say, you know, contact them and see. I can't imagine that they didn't have something available. But that sounds like you have a lot of in-house solutions to typical problems.
We
that
really
are there.
do. We're in the process in some of our Independence villages of adding on a memory care unit. Currently, we don't have that available now at Independence Village, but we're looking to hopefully in the future have that available to us. But in the meantime...
Now, when you say memory care, we're talking dementia and Alzheimer's and
well,
whatever.
we're talking like severe dementia. We could take care of minor dementia, but when it starts to become a worry where the resident's wandering, we're not a secured environment, so the resident may be wandering outside in the cold weather. We wouldn't want that individual to be in harm's way. So in that situation where somebody would need to be in a more secured environment, that's...
Okay. Because, yeah, memory patients do have a tendency to wander and
Right.
to move. So back to the security thing and not having a secured facility, that doesn't mean that it's not safe for the
No.
regular environment.
Right, and I didn't want to put it that way, but when I say, a lot of people will say, you know, where, I don't like the word where they lock down these residents. It's
Right.
more where they're in an environment where they're not able to leave out any door. With us being independent, our folks can leave. And we are currently updating our security system as well. I have a great system in place. We have somebody at the front desk 24 hours a day. All of our visitors have to check in at the front desk so we know who's coming in our building, and they all receive a visitor's badge. So if for some reason somebody did get in the building without this badge, our staff would notify the individual to please go check in at the front desk. So as far as security goes, we have our eye on our guests at all times for our residents.
So these are things that help answer the questions, because in the next segment, I think what I'd like to talk about is that transition. Now, I know from personal experience that my aunt and uncle moved into an independent living situation, and what they loved were the activities to go down, talk to their friends. They loved having, things were available, all this kind of stuff. They liked being able to have meals in if they wanted to, or they would go down to the dining hall.
Right.
They loved all of that kind of stuff, but they wanted to do that.
Okay.
So in the next segment, I'd like to talk about those of us who may at some point realize that our folks need the care, and how do we do that with them?
Right.
Because I think answering these questions that we just hit upon, how do you help them with the peace of mind? And that's part of, we have wonderful security. We take care of the patients, or the patients.
The
We
residents.
were just talking about,
Yeah.
we were just talking about the memory care.
Right.
But we talk about, calling the residents that we have these things that are available. So that's helping me
Right.
with these things, and once I see those, the pricing becomes less of an issue. And just want to remind you that we're talking with Grace DeZern and Brooke Alverson. Sorry, I just,
okay.
now you're a baseball player and the marketing
There.
director. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So great.
We'll see what she'll be on the next segment.
Right.
But they're from Independence Village, and their number is 248-236-8300. So if you have any questions, you can call 248-236-8300. Can they just ask for either one of you, now that you have a new promotion? You
Yep.
probably have your own secretary now, but
Lisa Barber is a good contact.
okay.
So.
Lisa Barber
Yeah.
at Independence Village. So in the next segment, we're going to talk about making that transition, helping our parents make a transition, and help them feel safe and secure about it.
Sounds
So
good.
You're watching Spirit of Life.
I'm program director.
Production supervisor.
Producer, editor.
All right, Mr. Tweedle, are you ready?
I'm an editor at Oxford Community Television.
I am the station manager.
We're rolling. I'm proud to be a producer here at Oxford Community Television.
Action. What do you do at OCTV?
I do science in the news and auto talk.
Politicians!
I'm sorry, I didn't say the right things.
What do I do? I'm a jack of all trades.
Actually, I almost got to play a dead body. You made more money if you played a dead body.
I love working here. I graduated from Bell and Howell.
I went to school for it.
Team player here.
Hi, Kelly.
Dave.
And I bring all the shows that you watch together.
In the business for 40 years. I've been a production manager, I've been a program manager, I've been a general manager.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Wham! Wham! I'm a big part of the Addison Living Show.
OCTV has some of the most imaginative people working here.
You can take a story and turn it into something visual.
I'm constantly an individual who wants to learn things.
I do this because we are your voice.
I love to do music stuff here with OCTV.
I love enthusiasm. I love people who enjoy their job.
He can do that.
Anything about broadcasting, I just really loved it.
We want you.
I am.
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 I am OCTV. I am OCTV.
I am OCTV.
I am OCTV.
I am OCTV.
I am OCTV.
I am OCTV.
We can do this.
Welcome back to Spirit of Life. I'm Dave Gerber, and once again with me is Grace Discern and Brooke Alverson, who last segment I gave a raise to and made her a baseball star. So she's pretty excited about that. We have been talking about several issues in the Independence Village, you know, that this is an apartment, that this is like a cruise ship. There's lots of services available. I've been there several times. It's beautiful. It's friendly. You've got great staff. They're very helpful. The residents seem to be having a good time. You know, there's just a whole bunch of wonderful amenities. We talked about safety in the last segment. We talked about you know, all of these things, and yet the biggest problem that's going to happen is when my mom or dad really can't live at home anymore. It's too hard for them to take care of the house. It's even maybe dangerous for them to take care of the house, and it's getting to be a burden on the child or the children to make sure that mom and dad are okay, getting to their doctor's appointments, and not that they're not that we want to foist our parents off on somebody, but they really aren't independent.
Right, right.
You know, they have all their faculties available, but they maybe can't drive anymore. So that's all. I see that as a wonderful benefit as a child who may have to do this someday. But I want to talk in the time that we have left about how do we help the parents make that, because I have sat with, as a pastor, I have sat with couples, or you know, the husband or the wife, you know, when one of their parents has died, or their spouses has died, they feel like they have lost their independence. They feel they've lost their freedom. They're no longer in the home that they spent 50 years in. How do you help them?
And you know, my experience in working with the residents, believe it or not, it's a lot of times the senior themselves, they don't want to burden the children. And I've noticed that a lot of times too. So with making the transition to moving into a community is always a tough one for the children. However, I think at that time, if your parent is starting to fall, if concerns are their memories, or forgetting to take their medicine. These are all concerns that children would have. So it is always a hard decision for the resident. When they come to visit us, we do have what we call a stay and play. So that's available to people where they can come and try it out for free. You can come and stay for 2-3 days just to get accustomed, get a little feel for it, feel a little more comfortable. So instead of making the full transition, some people are comfortable, they're just ready. They just don't want to be alone. They realize they have a problem. They don't want to be a burden to their family, so they're ready. But for the ones that are not, and they are a little unsure, then we do recommend to go ahead and stay in our stay and play for free and try it out. And therefore, if you don't like it.
And you must be pretty confident in that, because I think in sales they call that the puppy dog close. You know, take the puppy home for a couple of days, see how you like it, and then the kids fall in love and stuff. But I think that's a wonderful opportunity. I had no idea that was available to because that helps me, again, as a pastor, to be able to say, look, I talked to Independence Village, and I'm sure this is something you can call wherever you are and see if they have this to check it out, to do something like that. So that's helpful for them to get the whole feel, an immersive experience. What are some of the other things that you have available for the residents? Somebody who's thinking going in, the kids are already sold, they're having a trouble getting the parents.
Well, go ahead, Brooke.
When they come in, I notice a lot of times, well, what do you have to offer for mom and dad? And that's when I usually like to say, well, what does mom and dad like to do? You know, because we're taking them out of their comfort zone. They're putting them in a new place, new territory. So hobbies, tell me what they like to do, because I can guarantee there's going to be something there that they enjoy doing.
Right.
Whether it's reading or playing euchre or just gardening, you know, we have a wood shop, we have an exercise room. I mean, it's full. Again, it's going back to all the activities, making sure that they're able to do things. So,
well, one of the important things I want to point out too is the staff. What we have, we've been doing when the resident does come in. It's always scary for the first month or so. So we have one staff member a week that spends time with that resident, walking them down to the dinners. Somebody that would come and bring them to the activities. Myself, that I'll go check and see, are there any issues or concerns that resident has. The bus driver, Captain Lisa, will take them and escort them to so that they're not insecure, because it's always a big thing to come into this big building from your own home. So that's a good 4 to 5 week where they're with a staff member each week. Which takes about
we tell them 4 to 6 weeks it takes for that transition period for when they do move in. It takes a while, but once they do, they enjoy it, they love it. It's like family there.
Good.
Big family.
And actually, most of our referrals do come from our residents.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the best advertising, and that's the best recommendation. Now, here's something. At one of the breaks we were talking about that nobody likes to really talk about death.
Right.
But it's inevitable.
It is. It's real.
You know, we are all going to die, and one of the concerns that I think I would have, because you talked about having a nurse on staff and a visiting physician, is that I not only have my own doctor, but I have the Independence Village has a doctor, or my folks have a doctor. And some of the issues of hospice, some of the issues of, okay, we're going to have to move from independent living. We still want them to have as much freedom as possible, but now we're going to have assisted living, and so do people, do you have hospice that comes visits? And how do you help the family and the residents transition in some of these difficult times? Do you come up and say, Brooke, maybe it's best that we transition them into the assisted living section?
It's always a hard transition, but we do offer services with hospice. We do have hospice come in. Usually at that time, they would talk with the nurse. Jennifer Smith is our nurse through Senior Home Care Solutions, and she would keep in contact with the family.
It's all done actually in a very comfortable way, because as you say, it is something that does happen, and most people are aware. But what's nice is you can have this right in your own home. This is your home. The apartment is now become your home. And if you are ill, the nurse is there to assist that resident with whatever they need. We do have hospice available. You can use whoever you choose to use, or we can recommend somebody to you as well, to make the resident as comfortable as they can, so that they still are getting the services that they deserve, as well as the care that they need, and they can go ahead and have hospice and go through that whole process right in their own home.
This sounds like just a great relief to children that are worried about their parents. It sounds like a great relief for parents who are losing some of their independence and would like to maintain as much of that as possible. The information I got today sounds like I can know that my family member will be well cared for, and that I am adding as much life to their years that are left as possible. Brooke and Grace, I really appreciate you being here. Executive Director and Marketing Assistant from Independence Village, and you are listening to Spirit of Life. I'm Dave Gerber, your host. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to talking to you soon.